Welcome to Statistics with the NCBO. I'm your instructor, Scott Darty. And in this video, I'm just going to give you a brief introduction into my math lab. Now, if you're taking this class, you're actually signed up for two courses. You're signed up for Math 1342, which is statistics, but you're also signed up for Math 0242, which is the remedial class for statistics. Now, what I've done is I've combined the material for both of these classes into one My Math Lab shell, and therefore you only need to purchase one access code if you're signed up for both of those classes. Now you're going to find there's a lot of material in my math lab because it's actually two classes combined into one, but I've labeled the material for each class so that you know which material you're working with. But you should be aware of that up front just so you don't get confused. Okay, so what I want to do here is talk about some of the buttons in my math lab. So this first button, this course home button, will pull up this calendar. Now this is the month of January, and you can see that there's an icon here on January 18th, which indicates that there's an announcement on that day. And so you can just click on this icon to read what the announcement is. Now I'll be posting announcements throughout the course, so you should check for announcements on a regular basis on this calendar. Now anytime I send out an announcement, I also send out the announcement via email to whatever email address that you've posted in my math lab. So you can also just check your email address. Okay, so let's scroll through to the next month. This is the month of February. This icon indicates that the first test is due on February 17th, or due by February 17th, at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, all times in my math lab are in Eastern Time, and so this really is 10:59 Central Time. So you should remember that. All the times in my math lab are in Eastern Time. Also, we only have tests in statistics. We don't have tests in Math 0242, so this is referring to the first statistics exam. Okay, March 12th, the second exam is due, right, by March 12th in statistics. And then April 12th is the third exam is due in statistics. And then the fourth test is due on May 7th, or by May 7th. Okay. And then on May 13th, that's the very last day of class. That's when all the homework is due for statistics and for Math 0242. So all the homework for both classes is due by the end of the semester, which is May 13th. Again, at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can see that down here. This is all the Math 0242 homework. And this is the Math 1342 homework. All of the homework for both classes is due by May 13th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, there's also a final exam in statistics. It's comprehensive, so it covers everything in the class. And it's also due on or by May 13th, which is the last day of class, at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, so let's talk about this orientation button. That pulls up this orientation document, and you should read through this document. I'm just going to highlight some of the major points here. You need to take the orientation quiz before February 1st. If you don't do that, you'll be dropped from the class. I'll show you how to access the orientation quiz in a moment. It's not graded, but you do need to take it because otherwise you're going to be dropped from the class. So make sure you do that before February 1st. In fact, that's going to be your first assignment. Just make sure you take the orientation quiz first and before February 1st. Okay, so my math lab has all these buttons over here, and I've described them in this document in case you want a reference for those, and I'll just let you read through those. In terms of contacting me, this is my cell phone number. You can send me a text, or you can call me, or you can send me an email to this email address if you need any help with anything. Now, the TI-84 graphing calculator or the TI-83 graphing calculator is a requirement for the statistics class, so make sure you purchase one of those as soon as you can. And I'll let you read through most of the rest of this. I do want to mention something about testing. All tests for statistics will be taken at your home without a proctor online. And I'll show you how to access the tests in a moment. Now, again, we don't have tests in Math 0242. I'm talking about the test in statistics only, right? That's the only place we have tests. Now, in order to access the test, you are going to have to enter in a password. And so these are the passwords for the test. Test 1, the password's test 1. And then test 4, the password's test 4. And then for the final exam, the password's final exam. So if you forget the passwords, they're located in this orientation document. Okay, so I'm going to let you read through the rest of this orientation document. If you have any questions about it, just let me know. So this button just sends you to the orientation video that we're looking at now. Okay, so now let's look at the Math 024 syllabus. So again, I'm going to let you read through a lot of this on your own. This is my office location. This is my office phone number and my email address. We do offer tutoring services online. If you're interested in that, you need to go to your D2L account and click on online tutoring. There's also an online tutoring guide that you should look at first, which has a couple of videos which explains how to use the tutoring service. Well, once you're ready to use this tutoring service, you can just click on online tutoring, and then it'll launch BrainFuse, which is the online tutoring service. And you can even request tutors from the Montgomery campus, or any campus for that matter, in the Lone Star College system. And the videos will explain how to do that. Okay, let's talk about registering for MyMathLab. So to register for MyMathLab, you need to go to this website first. Click on Register as a Student. And then they're going to prompt you for the course ID. So just enter this in for the course ID. And then you're going to have to pay for an access code or get temporary access. So if you want to purchase an access code, you can do that with a credit card or through PayPal, or you can get temporary access for a couple of weeks. Of course, if you need to pay for it within that couple of weeks, because there is a point at which you will no longer have access to MyMathLab if you haven't paid for the MyMathLab access code. Okay, so if you have any questions about signing up for MyMathLab, just let me know. If you have any technical issues in MyMathLab, you can click on this link. That's technical support for MyMathLab. Okay, and let's talk about evaluation now. So in Math 0242, right, the remedial class, we only have homework and quizzes. The homework is worth 70% of your grade, and the quizzes are worth 30% of your grade. And then the letter grade is going to be determined by this 10-point scale. The last day you can withdraw from the class is April 9th. Again, you must take the orientation quiz before February 1st, or you will be dropped from the class. So make sure you do that before February 1st. Students that fall more than 2 weeks behind the course calendar can be dropped from the class, so make sure you keep up with the material. This counts as participation in the class, so if you're more than 2 weeks behind the course calendar, then you're considered to not be participating in the class, and so you can be dropped from the class if that happens. So make sure you keep up with the material. And by the way, if you're dropped from Math 0242, then you're automatically dropped from Math 1342 automatically. Okay, so I'm just going to let you read through the rest of this. If you have any questions about the syllabus, just let me know. Okay, so let's look at the calendar for Math 0242. So the calendar looks like this. So you've got homework due dates, and then you've got quiz due dates. Homework 1 is due January 29th, and then the quiz is due February 1st. Now the quiz, the first quiz, is over the material from homework 1. Okay, so that's the way this is going to work. And there are 10 of these, right? So homework 10 is due on April 9th, and then the quiz over that material is due on April 12th. Okay, so if you have any questions about the calendar, just let me know. And now let's look at this next button. This is on Math 0242 videos and what's called crosswalk. Okay, so let me explain this. We're going to be using 3 different textbooks in this class. We have a pre-algebra textbook, which I'm going to label with a P. We have an elementary algebra textbook, which I'm going to label with an E. And then we have the statistics textbook. Now, in the statistics textbook, there's a part of it that's called the integrated review, which is kind of the remedial material for that book. And then there's also another part of that textbook, which is the statistics part of the textbook, which I'm going to label with an S. The integrated review, I'm going to label with an R. And so here's how this works. Your first homework, right, for Math 0242 has 3 different topics: variables, exponents, and scientific notation. So you should watch the videos for each of these topics before going on and working on the homework. And if you want to look at material in one of the textbooks, I've labeled where that topic is located. So for example, variables, if you want to read up on it, is located in the R textbook, which is actually the statistics textbook, the integrated review of the statistics textbook. Chapter 1, Section 3. Okay, like exponents, right? If you want to read up on exponents, you can go to the elementary algebra textbook, Chapter 6, Section 7, or you can go to the statistics textbook and look at the integrated review, Chapter 1, Section 6. Okay, and then remember the P stands for the pre-algebra textbook, so rounding decimals you can find in the pre-algebra textbook, Chapter 5, Section 1. Okay, so that's how this is going to work. Before you start the Math 0242 homework, you need to look at the videos for the homework, and then maybe if you want, you can read through some of the textbook material as well. Okay, let me show you the textbooks now. This is the pre-algebra textbook, and if you click on the table of contents, then you can just go to whatever section you're interested in. And then we've got the elementary algebra textbook, and again, it's the same way. Click on the table of contents and select whatever section you want to look at. Okay, now let's look at the homework. Now the homework is located here, and that's for both homework, right? Math 0242 and Math 1342. They're both located under that button. Okay, so you can see this is the Math 0242 homework. There are 10 of them. And then the Math 1342 homework in statistics begins in section 1.1 and ends in section 11.1. Okay, so let me just click on one of these to show you what it would look like. So this particular section has 10 questions, or 9 questions. If you click on one of these questions, and this pulls up the homework problem. And then notice over here you have this question help button. And so you have lots of options for help over here. The help me solve this button will actually work through this problem. Well, it'll guide you through the problem. Okay. The view an example button will pull up a problem that's similar to this one and actually work through it step by step. The textbook button will pull up the section in the textbook that's related to this problem so you can kind of read through it. We won't be using StatCrunch, so you could ignore that button. And then this Tech Help button will pull up all these technological videos. Now, we're not using Excel or Minitab or SPSS or StatCrunch. The only thing we're going to be using is this TI-84 and 83 graphing calculator. And if you pull that up, it just pulls up all the videos that they have on the graphing calculator by topic. And so you just select whichever topic you're working in, and you can see, how to use the calculator to help you solve the problem. Okay, so going back to that, I want to show you a couple other things there. Okay, so question help. You've got tech help, and then ask my instructor. So what this is going to do is allow you to send me a question. Just type it in this little box here. And it's also going to send me the problem that you're working on. So you can ask me a specific question about the problem you're working on. And then usually I can answer that, within a couple of hours. Okay, so that's the homework button. The next button will give you access to the quizzes and the quizzes in Math 0242, and then the tests in Math 1342. Okay, so this is where you'll access the orientation quiz. Okay, so make sure you take that again before February 1st. You have an unlimited number of attempts on that quiz, and there is no time limit. And then you can also access the tests for statistics here. And so we've got 4 different tests and then the final exam in statistics. And then notice for each exam, you have a practice exam. Now for the practice exams, you have unlimited number of attempts, so you can practice those as many as you want, and there's no time limit on them. The exams themselves have a time limit, and you only get 1 attempt on the exams and the final exam. Okay, so just make sure you take the practice exam before you actually take the exam itself, because you only get 1 attempt at the exam itself. Now, when you pull the exam up, it is locked with a password, and I've done that so that you don't accidentally pull it up. So you are going to have to enter in a password before you actually start the exam. Okay, so that's statistics, okay? We have exams and a comprehensive final in statistics. For Math 0242, the remedial class, we have quizzes and homework. And so these are where you'll access the quizzes, right? There's 10 quizzes, 1 for each homework assignment. Now notice here you have 2 attempts per quiz, and there's no time limit on any of the quizzes here. Okay, so let's talk about the syllabus for statistics. A lot of this information is the same as what's in the other syllabus. This does refer to the textbook, which is optional, because once you purchase the access code, you will have access to the textbook electronically. But if you want the physical copy of the textbook, this is the title of that textbook that we're using. I've already mentioned tutoring online. And then you know how to register. You're only going to register once. You don't need to do it twice. So just go through this procedure 1 time using this same access code that was in the other syllabus. Okay, in terms of evaluation in statistics, the evaluation is a little bit different. Homework is worth 20% of your grade. The 4 tests are worth 60% of your grade, and then the comprehensive final exam is worth 20% of your grade. And then this will determine your letter grade based upon this 10-point scale. Again, the last day you can withdraw from the class is April 9th, the same as Math 0242. And again, you have to take the orientation quiz before February 1st or you'll be dropped from the course. Now, there's only 1 orientation quiz. There's not 1 for Math 0242 and 1 for Math 1342. There's just 1 orientation quiz, but you do need to take it before February 1st or you'll be dropped from the class. Same thing, if you fall more than 2 weeks behind on the course calendar for statistics, you can be dropped from the course, just like it is in Math 0242. And then if you're dropped from the statistics class, Math 1342, then you're automatically dropped from the remedial class, Math 0242. Okay, so I'll just let you read through the rest of this syllabus on your own. So let's look at the calendar next for statistics. This is what the calendar looks like. Now, here's how this calendar is going to work. These little sections here, those are referring to the homework in statistics. And these are suggested dates for doing the homework. Now, technically, the homework is not due until the end of the semester on May 13th. But if you're going to keep up with the class, right, you don't want to fall more than 2 weeks behind, then you need to try to keep pace with what I've got on this calendar. Now, these are not hard due dates. These are just suggested due dates to help you keep up. Test date here, February 17th, that's a hard due date. So you need to complete the first test by the end of February 17th. And of course, that test is over chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you can see that's the suggested due dates for those homework chapters. Okay, and also the suggested date for doing the practice test. So ideally, you're going to try to get all this homework done before you take the test, which is on February 17th. Now, if there's some sections that you don't get to, or I guess some problems that you don't get to, you can always finish those after the test. But you should try to finish all the homework before taking the test, because you'll do better on the test if you do that. So that's how this is going to work. Test 2 is due March 12th. It's over Chapter 5 and 6. These are the suggested dates for doing the homework so that you can keep up. And then this is the suggested date for doing the practice test. But then this, March 12th, is a hard due date. You must complete the second test by the end of that day. Okay, Test 3 is due April 12th. That's a hard due date. It's over Chapter 7 and 8. And these are the suggested dates for doing the homework so that you can keep up. And then this is the suggested date for taking the practice test. And by the way, like I mentioned before, that's the last day you can withdraw from the class, right? April 9th. Okay, the last test, Test 4, is over Chapter 9, 10, and 11. That's due May 7th. And these are the suggested dates for doing the homework for Chapter 9, 10, and 11, as well as the practice test. And as I've mentioned before, the final exam in statistics is comprehensive, so it covers everything, and that's due by the end of May 13th. And there's a suggested date for working on the practice final. Okay, so you should keep referring to this calendar to make sure you're keeping up with the homework. And certainly, you must take the tests by the dates shown here. Okay, so the next button, I've got some homework videos for Math 1342 for statistics. So this is a YouTube channel that I've created. I've worked through some of the problems in statistics in some videos. You can look at those if you need some help on the homework. And then I've also got recommended YouTube videos that I've pulled up from YouTube that go over some of the kind of the content from each particular section that you're going to be working on. Now, these are optional. You don't have to look at these. But you might find some of them helpful. Okay, so here's the textbook for statistics, right? It's broken down by chapter. And then this button here just brings you to some of the formulas and tables that we use throughout the class. So this is a good reference for some of the formulas and tables that we're using in statistics. And then there's this multimedia library button. This will allow you to search for various things in MyMathLab, most important of which is going to be these section video lectures. So let's pull those up first. So your first assignment is going to be section 1.1 in statistics. So you can pull this up by chapter and section, and we're going to pull up the section video lectures. So the way this is going to work is you're going to watch these videos first. This is going to give you the content for this section. Then you can start working on the homework from section 1.1 in statistics. Now they also have technology videos, which you can also pull up. Now for this section, they don't have any, but I recommend you pull those up as well. So let's say you're working in chapter 3, section 3.1. I would pull up the section video lectures and also the technology videos. So here's the section video lecture. You need to watch that first so you can get the content of the section. And then you can learn about how to use the calculator here. Now, again, we're not using Excel or StatDisk, so you can ignore those. But you do want to watch these videos on the graphing calculator, the TI-83 and 84 graphing calculator. Okay, so that's going to tell you how to use the calculator to work problems in this particular section. Now, those are going to be the two most important things you're going to pull from this multimedia library, is the section video lectures and the technology videos. You're going to look at those videos before you work the homework. Now, optional things that you might want to look at on your own is you can look at some PowerPoint from each of the particular sections. These are kind of summaries about what the material is about in each of the sections, so that's a good reference. And then if you want, you can look at some of this other stuff, like maybe some of the animation or guided learning videos if you want. But I think the main thing you're going to pull up from here are the section video lectures and the technology videos. Okay, this Tools for Success button, there's not a lot here that you're going to need. For instance, we're not using StatCrunch. We're not going to use these data sets or StatDisk. So you're not going to need any of that. The only thing you might use here is they do have some reference cards. So for example, this is a review card which pulls up some of the formulas and maybe some of the tables that we'll be using throughout the class. So that's a good reference. You also have this graphing calculator review card, and that'll pull up by topic. It'll pull up all the buttons you might need to press to perform certain functions on the calculator. So this is also a good reference for the calculator. The only other thing I can see here that you might want to look at is, again, we're not using any of these like Excel, Minitab, StatDisk, or SPSS. But since we're using the graphing calculator, if you want to look at a manual for the 83, the 84 Plus, or the TI-89 or the TI Inspire, you can click on this to look at a manual for those calculators. Okay, and the last thing we're going to look at is this gradebook button. So if you want to look at your grade, you can just press on this Show Calculation button. It's going to break down your grade by the different categories: homework, tests, and then this says quiz, but that actually is the final exam. I placed the final exam under the quiz category. This is not the orientation quiz. The orientation quiz is not graded. I put the final exam under the quiz category. Okay, so the homework is worth 20 points. The final exam is worth 20 points. And then the tests are worth 60 points. And this will show you how many points you've earned in each of those categories. So for example, if you got a 90% on the homework, then you'll see 18 points earned out of 20 over here. And then it's going to add up all the points earned, and this will be the total points that you've earned for the class. And then if you look below this, it just has a breakdown of each of your individual grades on each of your assignments. Okay, so I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions about anything in my math lab, just let me know. Again, your first assignment is to take the orientation quiz before February 1st. And then after you do that, you should start working on Math 0242 homework number 1, and then take quiz number 1. And make sure you watch the videos first for those. And then you can also start working on the statistics homework. So you should watch the videos for those first. You access those under the multimedia library button. And then after you've watched the videos, you can start working on the homework from section 1.1. And if you have any questions about any of that, just let me know. Okay. So I hope you have a great semester. And again, if you have any questions, just send me an email or you can text me. Okay, bye-bye.